Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, it is now time to get back into the games. One of the most exciting right after this announcement is between Elysium, the team that Mandy roots for. We just heard it against Nokron. One killer that I root for a very long time is Zaka, because I feel like this guy is good on almost every killer, if not even definitely every killer. Has developed so many strategies and so much insane stuff. Does get the hit here onto Zeno, though unfortunately not able to prevent the first injury, but the dog not finding the target. The sniffer needs to be a little bit improved. And Andrew, you are staying here for a little bit longer for the party, so that is going to be the removal of the dog. So looks like a good first chase for Elysium.
Pretty good Houndmaster, not a killer we see every single week, but definitely an interesting killer. Here on Coal Tower 1, pretty good chase here so far by Zeno to keep Zaka from getting a pretty quick down, even though they got found pretty quickly there. Have some nice little rock pallets down here by Shaq. Managed to get that, but I think the pallet stun is going to come in, and again, Zeno on the correct side of the pallet there. And we're gonna see this chase go a little bit longer. I think we're probably gonna edge map die now. Yeah, looks like we ran out of resources. Although we're still got good distance. Wow, great distance. And missed that dog. We're gonna live longer. I don't know what I'm talking about, Dyer. I was totally wrong. I counted Zeno out.
Yeah, never do that. You never count Zeno out, because in the worst situations, when you put Zeno with the back against the wall, that is when this guy starts to shine. And he's proving that here as well. He's taking the responsibility for Elysium. He keeps running and running, and only now, finally going down. That is one generator in the distance. But knowing Elysium and how efficient they are, Andrew, I feel like there should be a second generator coming up.
That was wild. Like, the Zeno literally went towards comp corner to die, and then lasted another, what was that, 20, 30 seconds? 3 generators pop! Essentially, that chase was a full 90-second chase to take 3 generators off the map. Insanely good start from Zeno. We didn't get a chance to really talk about what's at stake here. Before we load it in. Obviously, we've got a lot going on today. We're talking about Nokron, who was handed their first loss last week to Team Cynic. They are 6-1 at the top of the leaderboard. Elysium is right behind. Well, I guess technically Invictus is, but we'll see what happens after today. But coming into today, Nokron was number 1. Elysium is at 5-1-1, so they are within striking distance of Nokron. So taking a win and handing Nokron a loss today would be huge for Elysium, and also make a statement versus Team Invictus, who did win earlier today. So this first chase by Zeno is really, really important, and we're seeing some good results so far from the survivors. Let's see if Zaka can come back and put some more pressure on.
Yeah, comeback is what I can agree on when we talk about the wording, because we almost feel a little bit like a comeback is needed, like at least a small comeback. Because this early game certainly went a little bit more wild for Elysium than Zaka anticipated here. Marco, next one in chase, still healthy, so they can go for a few tags here and take the distance, but the tag not even coming through just yet. Zaka trying to mind game. That's now going to be the dog successfully catching up to Marco. As always, the players are going to wait to minimize the distance that can be gained. Injury coming out right now. Dog will be ready to be sent right after Marco, and that's going to be a oh no, it's actually a miss. That is huge. Marco continues on the run. Insane. And Zeno coming in as a protection. Elysium up right here.
So it's really interesting that Zaka decided, I think, you get to that point in a match where I'm not going to 4K. I need to start spreading hooks. I need to start getting points on the board. And I think Zaka recognized right from the start that with that Zeno chase, he just not in the best position. That one missed as well. My goodness, that looked like a hit. I think that Zaka realized that, look, I need to put up some fresh hooks. I need to spread some hooks around and get some points on the board. Because after that, yeah, look at this. 1 hook state so far, and all the generators are done. We are on a fresh survivor here, Oscar, going down in the corner. But even if we hook basement and camp this out, that is going to be straight up 4 hooks too fresh. And that is a great start for Team Elysium today. My goodness.
That is absolutely incredible. Elysium is here to cook. Elysium is here to make sure that they are up there in the playoffs directly qualified. Remember, the top 3 make it directly. Teams 4, 5, and 6 will have to play matches on an extra weekend to eliminate one another and fight for one remaining spot. And if you make it to the top 1, you get an advantage. You pick your opponent in the semi-finals. So it matters if you're first or second. And with this performance here, I feel like Elysium is even ready to climb beyond the pole position. They're gonna not only be first in the standings, they want to be -2 in the standings when I look at that.
That was a wild game. Man, that first chase was phenomenal. Like, Xeno just identified where the places that you could go. A couple of those nice, like we said, those really nice filler rocks. Of obviously using Shack Pallet early. Managed to be patient and wait. There's a couple times when our little pupper there grabbed Xeno, and you always stay on your toes because the Wraith could be coming out of nowhere suddenly and decloaking on you. We are loaded in here. We got Xeno on the Houndmaster. A little bit of a different build this time. We're rocking... Oh, interesting note. I don't know if anyone's noticed. Am I crazy? I don't think the rename of the perks came in yet. I believe this is Weeping, the new Scourge Hook. Sorry, couldn't get the word there. The new Scourge Hook will be Scourge Hook Weeping Wounds. But I don't know if it's been renamed yet. When I first loaded up the game after the patch, it still was called Gift of Pain. But regardless, we got 2 pain. We have 2 Scourge Hooks, and Knockout is an interesting one too. So interesting build.
It will take a long time, though, to even get these renames into ourselves, because you can imagine, guys, the muscle memory and how we're used to things. It will be Pain Resonance and Gift of Pain for a much longer time there. Zaka, though, showing us that he's just as ready as Xeno was. Great standoff here, great patience, taking a little bit of time off Xeno, but that's going to be a nice work with the puppy here. Down onto Zaka. Very early, especially compared to the previous trial. Absolutely love that. That is just huge, and it sets the sail towards Elysium taking something successful here.
Well, yeah, and I mean, so our last chase came in at 2 minutes flat in the first match there. 2 minutes flat and 3 gens popped here, almost night and day. We're at 1 minute and 10 seconds was that down, and we haven't seen a gen pop yet. We see on the HUD there, we got a couple very close to being finished, but at least this one that Ivan's being chased away from is not going to be finished. Well, interesting there was going for Ivan, but manages to get the dog, so we're going to spread some damage around and hit Marcos. So now we've got 3 injured survivors, and we don't need a whole lot of... that was a really... Oh my goodness, that was so interesting. The dog essentially went through over the pallet and through the window and managed to get the down on Marcos. Really unfortunate for our survivors. At this point, this is getting pretty far away from our survivors. Especially when I said, when we've got Gift of Pain, even if you heal up... even if you manage to heal up the hooked survivors, they're going to be repairing so much slower, Dyer.
They will be slower indeed. It does cost a little bit, and the survivors also need to make sure now that they are making a good strategy for the 3, now 4 injuries they have. Your usual natural reaction is we need to grind the generators because we are falling behind time-wise, but just grinding the generators can very often lead to a lot of risks being taken, and when you then stay injured, especially against a killer like Houndmaster who can quickly send the dog over and get an unexpected down if you're not too aware of your surroundings, that might be a little bit tricky. So it will be interesting to see what Nokron opts to do here. That is going to be Zynox successfully dodging the dog and holding W. We have Zaka with the heal, same as Ivan, but unfortunately due to the vault, it is going to be the down right there. Good that the survivors have a little bit of a reset now. You can definitely sort yourself. You can discuss a strategy, who's going to take the underhook, who's going to get towards the generators. But we also have to keep in mind, it is halftime on the hook stages.
That is 3 times in this match alone already that we've seen, is it Snug is the dog, right? We've seen damage, not just the grab, but damage through the windows or through a pallet vault. And that's wild. We've seen 2 downs directly from our pupper. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the scoreboard, but we are 1 hook away from Elysium securing the win on Houndmaster. We are at 3 hooks, 3 fresh, which is enough to say that the next hook is the winner. So we're on borrowed time here, pun intended. We're on borrowed time here. If we can't finish all the rest of the generators, nice jump, Snug. If we can't finish all the rest of the generators without anyone else going down, this is going to be a 1-0 for team, and that is a down on Ivan. This will be potentially snowball material too. We'll see.
Zeno is so locked in right now with the double down here onto Zaka and Ivan. Zynox injured as well, so only Marcos really the one who can take responsibility here and make some good moves. But yeah, that is definitely going to be Elysium taking the first set point here. I wonder if that is the blessing of Mandy, since she said that she hopes Elysium is going to take that. Maybe we do have the magic Mandy coming in for the decision of this game, at least for the first set here. Ivan taking an injury as well. Grinding around the shack here. That is the home for the 1v1 ladder players, and we are opting though to go into the corner, trying to waste a little bit of time. Zeno just waiting. What a move there, just casually taking the down onto Ivan. Well done, Zeno absolutely delivering here.
I think that our pupper scared there. The pupper ran around the corner. Just based on Zeno's forward momentum, and I think that that made Ivan think that they were coming around the corner, so they juked back. But end of the day, we were edge map corner comp corner there. We weren't getting out of there alive. But yeah, very very quick down. Zeno is putting on a Houndmaster clinic here. I don't think I've seen such clean Houndmaster play maybe ever. So really Elysium is making a statement and sensing a little bit of blood in the water after Cynic was able to take Nokron down last week. And we're gonna have to see if Nokron can regroup and come back when it comes to the Nurse set. We had a really banger of a Nurse set in the first matchup today. Pryan and I were casting there. It was we had a 4K2 versus a 4K1. Really strong play. Ended up being a W for Invictus, but yeah, more good Nurse play coming up after this too.
Yeah, and the question is now, how do you leave this trial here, right? Do you leave with at least a few survivors walking out of the door and showing off that you can recover here, or do you give the signal to Zeno, okay, you dominated in the Houndmaster set, you just put 4 stages into comparison to a 4K being achieved, because Zeno most likely going to play the Nurse as well, so coming into confidence into that set will definitely be a huge move, and therefore Nokron here with generator number 4 trying to deny that. Zaka is going down once again here, but we do see the chance now, just sending the dog over. I was about to say, because Zaka should be that hook, so you should definitely take that elimination, and Zeno agrees there. That's going to be the 3v1 now with the generator still standing, that has the potential for a 4K.
Yeah, the gen split is kind of looking rough for survivors too. I think they're all kind of down this end of the map. This one here has some progress. I know there's the one in the middle there. I believe the other one's on the kill gen on the other side of Shack there. Yeah, this is a pretty strong 3 gen as well to go into the 3v1 with 2 injured as well. We've got Ivan is on death hook as well, so this can very quickly turn into a 2v1, which would probably end that off. And we are in chase against Ivan, and we're gonna get another vault hit. And now Ivan is dead. We're going to come over here and make sure that this generator over on the jungle gym here does not get finished before we take this hook. But I think that is going to be... We're looking into 4K1 territory, or bare minimum 4K0. Just barely missed that one there. Such a night and day from the last match too, Dyer. Just what happened last match, where we got only a handful of hooks, 1 hook before the end game, and now we're trying to not get 4K1.
And a good chase here, though, by Zynox. Does get the pallet here in time, so the run continues. Ivan getting another heal out for free, basically, because we are not progressing into hook stages. Yeah, and Zynox, this is not the one we want, lad. A grand final here, and yet he treats it exactly like that, showing off the skills at the shack, making sure distance is taken. And that actually brought Nokron so much precious time here. Now able to continue the work on the generators. Marcos with a third of a generator completed. Ivan going to take the injury, but should be ready, able to at least get this pallet out of the way. Mind game coming out. Not going to work successfully, but then a little bit too late on the pallet. Ivan going down here, but look at the UI. Marcos over 50% mark. I smell a completion.
We'll see. This is putting us down. Ivan is dead, though. I think so. Marcos started working on the hill generator rather than this corner, this pallet gym over here. But I think that Zeno realizes Marco just knows that they're not going to get it done in time, and that's gonna be that. Really, the other thing too is Marcos. I don't know if you saw. Marcos is healed. Marcos has weeping wounds, or whatever we want to call it, repairing 18% slower. So that generator that was at 50% took 18% longer to get there, and that's going to really cost them, might even cost them the generator here. That is such a strong perk when you, it's really, really, I feel like it's maybe not underrated, but I think properly rated. A lot of people see the strength of Gift of Pain, but also, Sloppy Butcher, Hemorrhage and Mangled, coupled with slower gen repairs. Really strong perk, and getting a lot of value for Zeno.
Once again, and that's not going to be the successful hit here. So Marcos with the chance to make for a good chase, but Zeno realizes that this is the plan. Immediately going back onto the other generator, he will now try to be a little bit on the 50-50 here, going between one generator and the other, waiting for one survivor to potentially overcommit to the generator a little bit, and then getting the advantage of that just in time, vaulting the pallet again. What is with the generator in our back, I wonder? Is there... No, we are not playing Minecraft to farm some wood here. How is it looking on the end? Why is that gen not done? I feel like it was so close, Andrew.
Do you know what's wild? If we had just broken this pallet 5 minutes ago, we probably would have ended the game. Zynox is going to get that generator. Zynox is not repairing slower. That's going to be that. And we're looking at a 4K0 situation. That is wild. I get it. You're working with a killer power that works well around pallets like that. But my goodness, just break the pallet maybe. I think you would have got it a long time ago if it wasn't for the fact that you're playing a god pallet, and Marcos was really, really playing it well. I got to tell you, this game was over a long time ago, but Zynox and Marcos put on a show. Well done. I would say moral victory for Nokron, and like you said, maybe that's enough to get their head back in the game for when we come into the Nurse game coming up. 4K0 is your final result.
4K0, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge difference compared to the first trial. So Elysium absolutely delivering here in this very first set. But in Season 10, we have decided to the best of 4 format. 4 sets will be played. So even a 2-0 is no longer enough, basically. You need to win 3 sets for yourself. That is the safest way in order to get the win. The next one is the Nurse. A lot can happen on the Nurse. A lot of surprises can happen as and against the Nurse. So we will very likely watch Zeno.
To the Wrecker's Yard here. We've got Zeno back on Killer for Team Elysium on the Nurse. We are starting a very quick change with Savon. And like I said, a little bit of a different map for Nurse. It's a very strong killer map. The survivors are going to need to be very, very cautious of not getting caught out while they're working on it. It's a bit of a smaller, so a lot of these generators are within blinking distance. So it's going to take a lot of really, really good communication to stop the nurse from running away from this. Team Nokron on the survivors need a strong showing here. I would say that we got to get at least down to get 4 gens done or get people out the door in order to set yourself up for really, really, really good results and potentially the win of this set. What do you think, Dyers? Should we expect outs? Like, is that something that Nokron's going to need to do, or do you think that 4K1 will be enough?
I feel like if you want to make a really, really huge comeback after dropping the first set point, then you should get the outs. Because outs is also something that we definitely not see so often. It can be an advantage that we are now on the Wrecker's Yard. To everyone who's wondering, wasn't the nurse on cold tower for most of the season here? Again, the reminder, we have a map repetition prevention system, so most of our killers have 3 options, and the Houndmaster is balanced for cold tower 1, so cold tower 1 is taken. That means nurse switches to alternative number 2, which is the Wrecker's Yard. And there I can see an opportunity, right? Because when you always practice scrim on the cold tower and then you pick ban for your match and you realize this is now on Wrecker's Yard, this is not just a simple change. That changes the strategy a little bit. We have the basement in the middle of the map. For survivors, that is an insane change on how they are approaching this and how they are working throughout the trial. So if you prepared really, really well here, and if you did your homework, especially for the Wrecker's Yard, you might be able to come out on top here. So I think outs are possible, and I think Nokron is in the absolute position to bring us some outs.
So I want to point out something really interesting. We have seen the triumphant return of Call of Brine, recently back with the buff from the recent patch this week. Call of Brine, for those of you who aren't aware, has been buffed. It used to provide 125% regression speed, so 25% faster regression. It's back up to 150%, so you will see more regression with Call of Brine. So we have an insanely heavy kick build. We've got 3 kick perks. We've got Eruption, we've got Call of Brine, and we've got Pop Goes the Weasel. That down came in at minute 42, which was significantly slower than we saw in our first set. I think the Xeno just knows that we're not going to be able to stop the unhook here, so we're going to take the trade on Marcos. Oh my goodness, Zaka comes in as well. That's interesting. That is a choice. I don't know if it's going to pay off or not. They managed to get Zynox out of the way, but now we've got 2 slugged on the ground at 4 gens, Dyer. What was the plan there? What do you think?
I'm not entirely sure what happened. I just know that this shouldn't happen. This is the first obvious takeaway, in case you didn't notice at home yet. Important is now the recovery, though, because we do have... Yeah, I was just about to talk about it. Zynox is going to be healed again, and Ivan is going to finish the generator. So we have 2 survivors that can coordinate this. We can position them for the 2 saves that are about to be done, and then we can make sure that we turn 2 hook stages into basically only 1 hooked survivor at the same time. They need to time this good, they need to coordinate this good, but this is why they're at the top of the standings. So I'm positive here, we can make that change.
The scary thing is that, so the plan is always like, you need to make sure you're going in while the other one is being pressured at the other hook. But if Zynox gets, Zynox is doing a generator, so not coming in to save here. So that's interesting. I was going to say, if Zynox trades in any way, shape, or form, we're back on our tunnel out. Really, really quick down on Yvonne. They managed to get both off hook. Like you said, Marcos is, looks like, wait, that would be Deli. Sorry. Marcos has Deli. So, okay. Sorry. You know what? I didn't even take into account Deli. My brain was not really considering the fact that. So, we do get everybody off hook. We're going to see all 4 fresh hooks. So, the good news is everybody's the tunnel out. The bad news is we don't have a tunnel out. So, Zynox is cranking away another 3rd generator here. Looks like they're going to get it done. But we seem to be chasing down Marcos over in the corner here. And that is going to be a very, very quick second down on them.
Unfortunately, yeah, this is not what Nokron was hoping for. The longer run was really what we wanted to see here. Now, with the third generator completed. A few good news coming out here for the survivors. Time to pick it back up, time to get the pressure back in. Ivan and Zaka both starting on that work now. We see the pop kick over here from Zeno. The problem is Marco is in the second stage, will be the tunnel out target. And if they don't get another generator before we have the elimination successfully enforced, I feel like that's gonna be a little bit of a problem then, because that feels like a little bit too early. Good that Zynox therefore waiting here with the sprint burst, getting enough distance to not end up as a trade, even faking, going for the unhook, circling back to waste some extra time from Zeno. Good job here, but I hope someone is taking care, or we are at least trading later on. Yeah, we are going for the trade now. Wonderful play there. It basically wasted 20 seconds that the other survivors can put into the gens. Wonderful.
So I believe Ivan and Zaka were both on the same generator down by the front end loader, the tractor down the other end of the map there. So they were down there. It looks like they split up at this point. I think that Ivan is going to finish popping that generator, which will put us into the 3v1 with one generator left. But we do have Zynox on the ground, and everybody's in danger of dying, right? Like you don't have a single fresh hook. So this is... this is a very big turning point. It can go either way at this point. We seem to have tracked down Zaka. Great one blink down on Zaka with everybody injured, and now only Ivan does pick up Zynox. So we're gonna put down some of our kick perks on this. This is a manageable 3-gen as well. Zeno has these 2 generators on what would be considered the left side of the map, along with the Shack gen, which is very center of the map, which means that it's a very holdable 3-gen. We saw the reset come in on Ivan, but we kind of know where they're at because we knew they were over on this side of the map. And if that heal came in that fast, it's unlikely they've made much distance. So can Zeno sniff out potentially Zynox, but either one of them? Doesn't seem so.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that so far, and the survivors will need to play a lot more careful. This time you cannot be found too quickly. What they did there with Zynox earlier was really, really strong, wasting time, only going for the trade when the survivors wanted to, because very often we don't see that, right? The nurse decides what's going on in the trial because she is so strong, and that the survivors just take 20 extra seconds away from Zeno definitely shows the quality of the survivor coordination of Nokron here. And we have someone behind this wall. There he is. Ivan coming in just in time, saving Zaka here. And that's huge now. That is the age right after. That is so incredible. No trade even. Zeno will have to commit to a chase. And chase costs time. And time is progress into the generators. At least a bit, question mark! Nice movement here by Zaka. This is so on edge. Every single swing, every single down can turn into the 4K or potentially getting the final generator done. Whoever makes the next mistake here is in trouble. Unfortunately, Nokron will be in trouble now. The question is, Zynox didn't have enough
progress.
4K.
It was getting close though. It was getting close to being finishable, but yeah, that's gonna be that. Now the question is, can we still have Unbreakable on the board? And Zaka's still got DS, which was never used earlier because we haven't really been we haven't ever had a situation to tunnel out Zaka. But Zaka's gonna Unbreakable. Go see if we can get Ivan off the ground. We do. Nurse is coming back. This is gonna give Zynox more time on the main generator. I think we kicked main gen there. You can see Call of Brian clicking down there. So I think we kicked the main generator. And oh no! I was gonna say we get the rare pallet stun on the nurse, but we end up getting the swing through the pallet at the same time, and we're gonna see Zaka on hook and dead, and that eruption went off on main, which is gonna mean that they're not gonna have enough time to even get close to finishing that generator, and this is looking like 4K1 territory now.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. And it unfortunately also cuts down it cuts down the chances now, right? To make this statement after losing set point number 1. If Zeno is able to achieve the, let's call it a little bit like this, standard result, 4K1, nothing too crazy, then you definitely want to make sure that your killer player is getting even more ready. Ivan going down here, and Zynox was working on the generator again, but unfortunately I feel like that was not enough time. We see you, Jimmy, don't worry, we know where you are. So yeah, we are getting our 4K1. The stare down.
The two-step sprint burst and then the stare down. That's brilliant. Love it. So yeah, I think you're right. This is definitely a standard result, and the problem with the standard result is that you need an what was that? Auto aim. What did we hit? Interesting. If you're gonna get a standard result, that puts your killer in a position where they need an exceptional result. And after losing the first matchup, after losing the Houndmaster matchup, that really doesn't put you in the situation you want to be in. So we're gonna have to see what happens, but that is going to be the end of that one. That's gonna be a 4K1. So I gotta tell you, like, again, when you're looking at what went right, what went wrong, obviously. Going back to that weird situation where little moon slugging going on here, where Zaka came in to maybe pick up the slug, and when we got the first initial unhook that led to the double hook, they managed to make it back. They managed to come back from that situation. I don't know what the miscomm was there. Maybe you just presume Zeno was going to blink after the tunnel and you get to instantly start healing, and Zeno didn't leave yet. A little bit overzealous, didn't really pay off. But they managed to come back from that. There were still 3 gens left at that point. They managed to get 2 more generators done and put up a reasonable result against Zeno and Elysium. So, yeah, tie would be fine. Win would be better. A loss would be very bad for Nokron.
A loss would be really difficult, yeah, because you don't. What you don't want to do is standing in the best of 4 with a 2-0, because the problem is if you do, the max result that you can now achieve is a tie, right? And being down 2-0 with the perspective, the playoffs. So it is really coming down to this, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, top 1 after the main season is in the playoffs and decides their semi-final opponent. Double advantage, basically. Teams on position 2 and 3 qualify for the playoffs, and the teams 4, 5, and 6, they will play elimination matches against one another on a separate weekend to figure out who's moving as 4th team into the playoffs. And to the teams 7, 8, 9, and 10, we are unfortunately saying goodbye. And somehow
how did that not hit?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it did hit. I was just looking until I looked on the left side. What happened?
No, Pedro is slippery here. Somehow he manages to dodge that, but that's huge for the start here.
Yeah, this has already been there was a bit of a misblink there early on where it was, do I blink to the pallet or do I expect the double back? And Zaka sort of predicted the double back, and Pedro did not take the bait. Takes the hit on Pedro, but Zaka has to drop that chase and get into the match because Zaka knows we need a down fast and we need to get into these generators. A bit of a different build. We're seeing genetic limits, which is kind of interesting. A kind of interesting perk. Good hit here on Zeno. Can we follow up quickly? This isn't the safest place, but there is some line of sight block here, so you might be able to make a play. There's a couple different options. You can go to the pallet, you can go to the window. Being at the window, though, I feel like you're just dead. Yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of places you can go once you're up here. And we are going to see the down come in finally, and maybe we'll be able to get back and stop some of these gens from popping. Not that one.
We do get 1 gen at least, not the one. But we do see some progress being made here. We also see that we are already stealthing towards that unhook, making sure the safe will be ready to go. And so far, it really looks like a game where the survivors have... Okay, this is the spectator.
Yeah,
I was just a little bit confused there, but we do see that Zaka is actually somewhere else at the moment. So... but again, to my point before this really threw me off, it does feel like a nurse match that is way less chaotic. Zaka, stop camping! Jesus! Get on with
there we go.
Finally! But it does feel very organized. It looked a lot more chaotic in the previous trial. That's what I have to give the Survivor team of Elysium here.
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's just a small spectator bug. If you rotate between the point of view at the right as the hook comes in, it does that. So that was not Zaka face camping, and they were not healing in the face of the killer. We just had to wait for a hit to come in for it to go away. We're going to see the second hook on Xeno. We're going to see the second generator pop. Zaka has some work to do if we're gonna try and maintain this win or tie. We see Silhay was broken there. Was there a hook that came in that I missed? Was that a deli? Oh, I'm not sure what happened there.
We are getting the comeback established here. Xeno though with the hook straight again, and now facing the elimination timer. That's the tricky news here. Pedro, Silhay, and Oscar though managed to all stay healthy. This is the big change, and when we compare the two nurse trials directly, we have a lot less of an injury spread throughout the trials. Elysium looking more sorted here. That will change though if this elimination is coming through on 3 generators still standing. They will not be able to just continue this form of great round if it's going to be prevented. So it's important that they save Xeno here. Silhay is going to get the trade, but it is going to be Xeno on the spotlight of the tunnel strategy. Very understandably, unfortunately, missing that one, but it would have been the base kit BT still. So Xeno on the run, ladies and gentlemen.
So
and
genetic limits
so quick.
Genetic limits has made it so that Dead Heart is out of play, I believe.
Yeah.
Although I believe we're not. And no, I'm not exhausted. I thought they would have been exhausted, but I guess they were able to not get affected by it. And the Dead Heart does come in, which buys a little bit more time. And you can see 2 gens are about to pop. Wow. So we're about to lose the win condition. We're not going to lose the tie condition. But there it is. Now we're down to the 3v1, but we cannot let another generator pop.
Yeah, and this is not good for Nokron. For Nokron, this is really not good, because I feel like a tie would be okay, right? We talked about this. If it's a tie, you continue on a 1-0, you can win set number 3, then it's 1-1, and you still have the chance to win. But if there's one more generator getting completed, your best possible result is a tie, and that's really what you don't want.
The generators aren't terrible for our killer, but there's a lot of work. Zaka just put out 1 injury. So there's still a lot of work to be done here. Like, we have Shack Gen, which is always very central, and we've got these 2 generators that aren't close but not far. At least it's not on the far side of the map there. But like, there's just so much work to be done. We need injuries. Good double back there. I think that was Silhay. Really good double back there. Does not allow that prediction blink to be cut off. We did take a tank a hit there. Pedro and Silhay both were running sort of away from the generators. Now the question is, will they try and never mind. Oscar manages to reset Pedro, so for every hit that comes in, another one goes away, and Zaka is running out of time here.
Yep, time, the most important factor in Dead by Daylight. In Dead by Daylight in general is not on the side of Zaka. We see them grinding, not even doubled up. That's interesting. They are so confident about the max chases and the time they got that they work on a backup generator. So they have more prepared. In case Silhay gets interrupted, Pedro will continue his generator as well. And that shows a lot of confidence. If you don't scream this typical, let's come together, let's double up quickly, we need to get it done, and instead say, let's start 2 individual generators to play this tactically planned, that's a lot of, as the community would say, aura farming.
Oscar manages to heal up. I believe that was from inner strength, because we saw them breaking that totem earlier. So the injured survivor Silhay is down by that tractor gen, near the gen near the tractor, but unfortunately Zaka just doesn't feel comfortable going and trying to sniff them out, and had to come back and apply eruption. Maybe now we'll commit to it. If Oscar and Silhay manage to connect up and get the heal off, though, might be happening. If we see another heal come out, we're running out of kicks. We're running out of time. They're slowly, very confidently and consistently finishing these generators, the survivors are in a really good position right now. The survivors of Elysium.
Yeah, they are vibing slowly, I feel like, in VC, because they realize what we are talking about here as well. The comparison, right, to the previous trial, less chaotic, way less injuries, way less slugging. They realize that Silhey and Oscar will most likely meet up. Who are we catching there, actually? Is that Pedro?
I know Pedro was working this one up here, but they might have...
No, he's working on this
Pedro.
one. Okay,
Oh.
so we actually have our injured one there. It is just, yeah, Silhey is now in chase, so this might be a turn of events a little bit. Silhey bring us to the corner of the map here. Oscar most likely with the inner healing, as we see the totem there in the background. Yeah, and Pedro is slowly progressing. Zaka is progressing hook stages as well. We have to give him that. So the survivors at some point will run out of time. But for now, it's 2 minutes plus on hang time. It is good progress on the gens. It is a heal coming out, and the deli. That's punishing for Zaka.
Instant deli, yeah.
That's punishing. I'm sending my condolences card.
I was gonna say that we did get Silhey down, but that was the deli survivor, primed and ready, and we couldn't even slug really, because then you're giving up unbreakable and you wouldn't get anywhere. You had to hook there. I'm pretty sure Zaka would have known that that was the deli survivor, but in the end, not much you can do. That was a very quick second down though, and we're gonna see eruption go off on that generator. So maybe we can make something work, but also you can see them stick in the generator. You see that aura in the distance. Oscar got healed up in a locker again, so we've got 2 living survivors, and we're running out of time here. Can we make it back here before that generator pops? I don't think we're going to make it. Listen to it crank away. And they're both here, and they managed to get the generator done. Wow. Wow.
Mandy celebrating at home.
Yeah, yeah. Mandy's the Dev's pick. Dev's pick is worst they can do is tie today. Well played by Elysium. Wow. Yeah, very, very solid.
Insane gaming, honestly, Elysium here. You guys, I don't know if they are so motivated because of this huge announcement that we had today, and that's why they are locking in and showing everyone that they are ready to fight, but this is next level, honestly. Like a 2-0 on the top teams in the standings. Like now the worst thing that can happen to Elysium is a tie. That's crazy.
That is crazy. And again, that definitely solidifies the fact that Nokron will not exit this weekend in first place. Invictus will be in first place, and if Elysium pulls off this win, I have to go and check it out, but Elysium might be in second place, right?
And very important, we're just getting informed by our tournament analyst, Toby. You will find him as Imitatia or Toby in our Discord server. By the way, you can also join that Discord server by !Discord and ask about perk rates. Derolog streaming today, being our producer today, Imitatia, Toby, our tournament analyst, Rats, being here for years. But if you see any of these staff members, any of the match officials, any of the moderators, make sure to leave them a kind word, because after all, and even with the announcement today, remember, they are all volunteers and they are putting all the free time into this. And I couldn't be, being more happy with the team we had, with these amazing people we have in the background, all being responsible for where it ends here today. But yeah, I'm definitely like, there's so much popping up. There are DMs being sent, there are comments to answer, there's messages here, my phone is ringing. If I'm out of I apologize for the bad casting, guys.
You're doing great.
You're not focused today.
Shenanigans. You're doing great. We're again, all those, like, I'm a new addition here, and I can't believe how just awesome the team is, and also just like how welcoming they are. Like, people, I don't know. I personally have felt like people have been insanely kind to me. So I'm super happy to be here. And who would have thought, like, I've watched comp for a couple years now, and I never thought I'd be a part of this. And also, what an amazing announcement we had today. I'm so excited to see what comes in the coming year and beyond. We are now into this match, though. We've been watching a little bit of chase here. Zaka's trying to get their first hit. As Freddy Krueger, as the Nightmare, we're going to see that first hit come in here. We're rocking a bit of a Shaman build. We got 3 totems, including Crowd Control and Ruin. And we've also got Thrill of the Hunt, which makes whoop! Oh my goodness, that's not common. We don't always see a pallet explosion hit, but really, really well played there by Zaka and gets the down. We're going to see a basement hook here coming in. Nope, sorry, the basement ain't there. We're going to go into the middle of the road. And get the first hook here. Still at 5 gens, though. Really good.
Still at 5 gens. That's huge news when you are a Freddy. For the survivors, it is some sort of nightmare to face that. But it's a pretty silly joke, right? So let's see.
Well, this is really a dream come true for Zaka.
Basically, yeah, you could argue that. 2/3 on the generator over here. I think we had another, yeah, this one right here has a lot of progress as well. So we're technically talking about 2 generators that are getting ready slowly, but they are not confirmed yet. And as long as you as a Freddy sit on 5 generators to be completed, you are going to feel really, really excited about that. 2 generators will be potentially done very soon. Pedro has to leave the generator. No one does get caught here in this back room. So we actually interrupt that one. And we have Hex Ruin in play. So this is a little bit of a shakeup in favor of Zaka now.
Interesting. Look at this. We've got Xeno, the only healthy survivor, coming to main with Breakout. I don't know if we're going to get value, but the vertical, we should get some vertical value here. Breakout, I wonder if Xeno's going to be able to give an unexpected wiggle. We'll see in a second. I don't think it's going to matter because this hook is pretty close. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to matter, but it was pretty close. I guess Xeno was just cycling around here. Maybe I misread that. Maybe I thought it was a Breakout play when really it was just a gen play. But we're running out of windows here in main building because crowd control has been active this whole time, blocking off windows here and there. The good window at the top of the stairs is blocked. We're going to come play this really, really terrible pallet, but pallet stun will make you feel pretty good about it. Good swing, and now everybody's injured. Everybody's got Sloppy Butcher applied. Great perk, by the way. Very underrated perk, Sloppy Butcher. The unhook comes in, and I think Freddy's going to change targets and try and chase one of these survivors.
Absolutely, yeah. Pedro over. Oh, that's Marco on a solo project here a little bit. Good to see that. Finally, the second generator that we talked about earlier is now finding the completion here. Important mind game. Pedro, keep grinding. That's an important
that window's blocked now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that window's permanently blocked until that totem goes. You're dead in there, friend. Oh, hey, look at the totem. That's funny. But a third gen does pop. So we got about half progress. So getting towards half progress on another one, quarter progress on the last generator. Second hook on Pedro. Since the I wonder, I don't know, since the update to Freddy, what's the average win condition? I would imagine we're probably looking at about 8 to 10 hooks would be probably the pretty standard, but I've seen some 4Ks.
We have definitely seen some 4Ks here, and I also just realized I was talking wrong info earlier because we are on Deadlock Saloon with the Freddy, so it is going to be the mid-witch for the Wraith.
Yes.
Just in case someone caught that arrow, you are allowed to call me out on that now, but today I'm excused from everything because I have adrenaline up my head all the way. That's now Pedro circling around here, finding the down, unfortunately. Survivors seem like, I was about to say, they seem like staying injured for this, so a generator should be completed. They are doing exactly that. Listening to Coach Dyer, we appreciate that.
I was gonna say I did notice because at the time I had mentioned, oh, it's interesting. We have Wraith on Dead Dog, and then you kept on talking. I was like, yeah, we have Wraith on Midwich, and I'm like, you got a lot on your mind. I'm gonna let you run with it. So didn't want to embarrass you in front of Mandy. So, death on Pedro. We got 1 gen left. Everybody's injured, so another down can come in pretty quickly. We'll see how this goes. Playing the waiting game here. Another quick down would be really, really strong for our killer. I'm not sure how much progress is all around the map right now. They've opted to not break any of the 3 totems, which makes sense with Thrill to Hunt, right?
Yeah, they just keep grinding the generators here. And so far, for a good reason. The strategy worked to get that 4th generator out of the way. Now they're gonna take a little bit of a setback, which I really like, because after you lose a survivor, the killer can basically keep all the survivors busy, one hooked, one unhooking, the next one in chase. So you want to be healthy to extend that time. Marco unfortunately going down relatively quickly here, but we have 2 healthy survivors back in the trial that can now split up on the gens and on the save. I feel like it's a very needed step here for Elysium, but outs are not guaranteed at all. That will be exciting to see if they pull that.
Well, the scary thing is, for our survivors, Marco was the original first hook. It went Marco, and then we tunneled Pedro out after that when we were spreading all that damage around. So we're going to have 1 on gen, 1 set up for the save, you know, standard like you just said. But if we manage to... If they unhook Marco too fast and Marco gets tunneled out and into a 2v1, that's going to stick the survivors in a situation where it's unlikely they get the last generator done. Not impossible, but unlikely. Zeno with the balance landing, but the swing comes through. Zaka almost connects there. Doesn't quite get it, and it looks like we might get the free unhook here. And we hit Marco on hook, so we don't even injure Zeno. Zeno's going to be able to play... Nope, we're not going to go for it. I was going to say Zeno's going to be able to... run defense here for Marco, but Marco makes it away. Zeno takes a hit, and yeah, Zaka's coming back to this generator to see what's going on there, because Silhe's been cranking away that whole time.
Yeah, he is absolutely on this objective, realizing how important that is. I was just like, did I spot a survivor there? I don't think so. Now we are... Yeah, offering Zaka to go over to the houses section. Very understandable that he doesn't take that, because that would be a little bit too far away.
Really interesting. Zeno, I don't know if you noticed it there. Zeno, who is coming in for the unhook there and whatnot. Again, if Marco goes down very quickly here, it's going to be a really rough situation for our survivors. But Zeno has 2 out of 3 hits to activate Metal of Man. So I don't know if that's going to come into play, but it's interesting to keep an eye on. If we take another protection hit, we may see Metal of Man value come in. We decide to teleport away, and we sleep Zeno with that hit there. Very fast pallet vault, but... Oh, really heads up play by Zeno, and we got to leave again. The generator pops. No! Well played. Great chase by Zeno there. Very patient.
MVP applicant, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, the responsibility, this is what makes Zeno so strong. He is such a good killer player, he is such a good survivor player, but he's also the one who comes out and takes responsibility for the team so often and so successfully. Like, Zeno is the what you can absolutely, yeah, you can absolutely count on.
So Zeno managed to wake up in that period of time. We don't want Marco. We do not want Marco. Yes. Are we going to make it, though? I don't know if we make this. Are they going to be able to get a heal tech in? Is there a flashlight in play? What's happening? I would knock down Marco. I would have knocked down Marco.
Yeah, we are...
Can you pick up? Can you pick up?
No, they're blocking it. Will they do that successfully? Marco has
oh my god, this heal tech!
They pulled that. They got
Marco!
Marco, no!
No, it was a 50-50 and you pick up Marco! That's gonna be 6 hooks! Wow! Amazing! Oh my god.
No! Zaka!
What a heal tech! I think the first thing you do is you hit Marco down, so then you're only dealing with the 1. I know you can make a little bit of distance. I think if you'd knocked Marco down first, you might have been able to pull that off, but I don't know, because then you start crawling during the wipe animation. I don't know. I'm just trying to run it back in my head. What could you have done differently?
Be the magical turn that we need here. Let's see. Perfect survivor game required on the Nightmare. For Zaka, Marcos, Zynox, and Ivan, win condition for Xeno. 6 stages on 3 or 4 individual survivors, or 2 kills and 1 stage.
Very interesting build here. We see Ruin, but we don't have any blockages in main building. There is no bamboozle or crowd control, so those main building windows are going to be extra strong. I mean, Freddy can still use snares to slow them down, but that is going to be a very, very difficult chase in the main building. We see a lot of gen block. We see both Grim Embrace and Deadlock, so lots and lots of gen blocking, and this first chase is going pretty well. We've kind of split the chase around a little bit. I think we're going to finally see our first hit here on Zynox, but Zynox is going to run to main building, and again, main building is a very, very strong for our survivors. That is not going to go up the stairs, and we're going to make another cycle around here. How far can we make it? We do, yep, we go up the top. We'll go up that stair. Good dodge. Great dodge by Zynox. Ruin out of the way. I think we're just going to die in the bedroom here. Inappropriate Zynox. There are children watching. We don't need to see you gesturing towards the bed. And Zynox will go down at 5 gens, but pretty decent chase there for the first one here.
Decent chase. 129 for the first run. Definitely good result for the perfect trial that we need here, basically. Very, very strong. First hook only coming in right now. And we do get no generator yet. They are splitting it up, but again, that causes a lot of confidence for the killer. Whenever you get the first hook as a weaker killer, and you see that the survivors are not getting an objective done in exchange, you're definitely feeling really good about it.
Yeah, with that chase taking 1.5 minutes, again, the chase kind of started on one survivor, switched to the other. I can't remember. I think it was Zaka at main building. It might have been Yvonne. But yeah, so no gens have popped yet still. You see Yvonne on your HUD there. You saw Yvonne just woke up. And now we're going to put some pressure on Zaka. Zynox is ticking away here. We're going to get the unhook, though. Unhook comes in mostly for free. We are going to get the snare, which puts Marcos asleep and starts the sleep timer up for Zynox. Zynox hits that fastball. The slow doesn't come in. That snare did manage to put Zynox to sleep, but managed to make that vault. Now the question is, with that slow, are we going for a pallet save, maybe? I don't think anyone's nearby, are they? They're not. That was a fake out. Okay. Still no gens, Dyer. Never mind, still 1 gen, Dyer.
Still unfortunately. Okay, now we have the first generator done. Andrew, we are starting this off.
This is looking scary for us, though, Dyer. This is looking really scary. I like 1 gen done for 2. Like, if we manage to tunnel out Zynox and we go into a 3v1 with what? With 3 gens remaining, even like maybe 4 gens remaining, I don't see any which way that the survivors get out of this without giving up the hooks needed for Elysium to take the final win here. We're gonna see a hit here on Zaka. 2nd gen pop. Zynox is still on hook. Yvonne is on this generator too, so I don't. What is the plan? I don't know. Are they letting Zynox die for gen progress? Because it doesn't seem like there's enough gen progress to allow that. I don't know. Let me teleport over to
Zynox facing the death, right? Just a few seconds here. That would be a huge turn. If we don't get the save on that, that is 3 stages already. And not only that, it is also the survivor removed.
I get the point of sometimes, you know what? Look, the killer's in a really strong position. We take the full 70 seconds and get gen progress for it. But I don't think we've traded enough gen. We just traded Zynox's life, and we got 2.5 generators for it. I don't think that's enough. That is not enough progress to trade a death for. And now we're chasing down Marcos here. Yvonne and Marcos are healthy, which is good for the survivors. So maybe we can make something happen here. But now we're going to take the hit. That was a very heads-up play by Zeno to hit the snare and then get the M1 hit, which means that Marcos did not get nearly as much distance. But we're just going to come over here and kick this generator. I haven't been taking into account the other fact that deadlock's in play, right? So every time they finish a generator, someone's kicked off a generator.
And I'm trying to figure out what's the best strategy here now. We do have our 2 injured survivors. We have seen earlier it can be a powerful strategy to just stay injured and pushes. But are you really in that position at the moment after you lost that survivor? Because Zynox dying here is so huge for the impact of this trial. We have only 3 more stages to hand out. 1 survivor is going down here, and even a tie would be enough for Zeno, right? This is what we need to keep in mind, because then we are on 2-0 and we only have 1 more set. So Elysium definitely taking the win here. And if he face cams Marcos, he basically gets the win for today. And we still have 2 gens. That's so rough. We need an absolute comeback chase.
And with deadlock in play, even if you have to save. Marcos can sit on hook as long as you want, but you're going to have to save them and get them out the door without giving up another hook, if that's the case, if you want to let them go to struggle. But also, deadlock is slowing down that. You can't just slam out 2 gens and go. As soon as you pop a generator, the next most progress one gets blocked, and suddenly that 70-second hook timer is ticking away. Yeah, this is looking rough. We see someone coming in for the save now, Dyer. But I mean, how long can we stay alive here? There's not a lot of resources in this neighborhood. If we can body block, yeah. And so now you've got Zaka body blocking for Marcos, but that means Zaka's not on a generator.
And we do see the down onto Marcos also coming through here. Unfortunately, that is just going to be the next stage right there, and it is 1 stage away from turning Elysium the winner here. Then would be the question, do they win 3-0 clean with 7 stages, or is it going to be 2-0 and a tie? But Elysium would, with the next stage, whoever it is, basically be the winner here, and that does feel a little bit like Nokron falling off after 5 sets not being successful here.
Interesting. I got some stats coming in for Toby while we're continuing. I say continuing this. If we manage to down Zaka here, it's game over. Because that'll be the requisite states plus the fresh hooks. So the best killers right now are all the killers on Invictus and Elysium. All 4 players, Zeno, Obi, Nightlight, and Pedro, average around 10.5 stages per match, regardless of what killers are there. Little nodders here. Nodders? Wow. Nodders? Yeah. Very interesting to know. So the 2 teams that after today look like they're going to be in 1st and 2nd place will be technically our best killers.
That is...
What's happening?
I think Zeno's just happy.
I think that's
they're memeing a bit.
Yeah.
He's very happy.
And there it is. That's going to be a clean win. Yeah.
So close to the playoffs. It is definitely clean. We also need to remember Zaka on Team Eternal back then, basically biggest contrand of Elysium. So these 2 players share a healthy story of competition, trying to beat each other, trying to get ahead of each other, and having such a clean win is definitely rare. So huge respect to Elysium. That is definitely greater than I expected today. I was thinking we will have Elysium with the win here. I was predicting that in our little in-house prediction game as well, but so clear, I didn't expect that.
Very, very strong. So yeah, I mean, like, exceptionally, this wasn't just a win. This was a domination by Team Elysium. This is how everyone else is feeling out there, but this is setting up to be an insane tournament an insane end to this tournament, because we now have opened up. It's gone from the Nokron show to kind of anybody's tournament at this point. I do really hope that Nokron manages to shake off these last 2 weeks and come back to the both next week versus Invictus and as well the final tournament. Actually, like, come back and be present and manage to put up a really good result and really put up a great competition, because I think that everybody wins in that situation. I think that a strong Nokron going into the finals, going into the brackets, is going to be the best case scenario for everybody. Yvonne goes down, and that's going to be a 4K one on Freddy. Wow. Very, very, very strong showing from Zeno. Zeno's on fire today, guys. Zeno's on fire.
Zeno is absolutely on fire. And for me, getting the MVP here, definitely very, very strong showing from these teams. Congratulations to Elysium, a 3-0 over Nokron. What a game here. As said, Nokron facing Team Invictus. So basically internally scrimming against each other next week. You could put it like that. Crazy week 9 ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. That is doing a lot for the standings. We'll take a look at them